All right, so I'm going to go live with Leigh Remedios. We're going to talk a little bit about Brendan Schaub's comments about UK MMA, which I think will be informative for some of you. So we'll just wait for Leigh to get in here. All right, Leigh.
All right, Leigh.
You got to flip your
Hi.
camera around.
You gotta flip your camera around.
Sorry.
All right.
I didn't.
All right.
I didn't realize I had to do it on my phone, so my battery's not great.
Yeah, I know you probably didn't remember.
Yeah, I know you probably didn't remember.
Yeah, sorry.
So I wanted to ask you.
Brendan
Schaub's comments.
About Brendan Schaub's comments.
Yeah. So what was it he said? He said that Michael Bisping was the pioneer or something for
Something
UK
to that
MMA.
effect, yeah.
Something to that effect. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, I think Michael Bisping's excellent and amazing, and he's done really well, being the first Brit to win a UFC title. And he was actually fighting like a long time ago. He and I used to fight on this circuit called the KSBO back in the late '90s, early 2000s, which were like an amateur MMA kind of circuit. But I think, and I don't want to criticize Michael because it's not his words, I guess. But I think guys like Ian Freeman, well, Ian Freeman being the first guy to fight in the UFC from the UK, I think that's more of a pioneer move, you know. And then a number of guys fighting in the UFC from the UK would help pave the way a little bit to help the newer guys. Not that Michael Bisping's a newer guy, but newer than, say, Ian Freeman or Mark Weir, for example.
Guys like Terry Adam.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you had those guys competing. You know, Terry's excellent, and back in those days, a lot of it was before MMA became really glamorized and mainstream and well known. You know, and you had these guys fighting just because they love to fight, which Michael does as well. But I think his real big UFC push and superstardom came after a lot of guys had already made a bit of a push in the UFC already.
But do you think he put it?
But do you think he put
it Dan Hardy?
Or was it Dan Hardy?
Dan Hardy was the first Brit to fight for a title, wasn't he? So he did pretty well. I honestly, though, I really think probably Ian Freeman, because until then you really only had, what did you have? You had Americans, you had Brazilians, you had Japanese fighters, and the odd Canadian had been in the UFC. And I don't think there was much more than that. So, I mean, Ian Freeman fought at UFC 26. You know, that's quite a long time ago. So I think that really opened people's eyes. And then at UFC 27, he had his first win in the UFC, and that showed like people that the UK does have some talent, and we do have fighters that can go out there. Again, I don't want to take anything away from Michael. I think he's done fantastically. I just think as a pioneer, there are a couple of guys that were probably a little before him.
But I mean, people were
by
saying Bisping put UK MMA in the UFC.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he did. I mean, I think he really did make a nice statement by winning the title, and he did it on short notice. against a guy that had already beaten him in Luke Rockhold. I think he did amazing there. But I think the UK was probably already on the map. There had already been a load of fighters in the UFC by then.
Were there a lot of crowds?
Were there a lot of crowds by then?
Sorry?
Were there a lot of people watching?
Were there a lot of people watching before then?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. I think The Ultimate Fighter, the TV show, that really drew a lot of numbers. So Michael being on that really helped. I don't know. I'm not in the TV game. I couldn't tell you what numbers were, or what people watching were. But by then we already had big sellout crowds at events. So yeah, I mean, is Michael Bisping really, really good? Yeah. Is he the best Brit that's fought in the UFC, or is he done most? Probably. Was he a pioneer? I mean, he's the first guy to win the title, so that's great. I mean, I don't want to shit on Brendan Schaub either. I mean, he's only going by what he knows. He's not expected to know, British history. Maybe he shouldn't comment on British history though. So, yeah, that's it. That's my thoughts.
But does it bother you?
Kind of pioneered it.
No, not really. Me personally, no. Probably some of the other guys would. Michael Bisping's been very complimentary about me in the past. Paul Daly has as well. They both said that I was kind of a pioneer, which is really nice. But they both achieved much more than me, so I don't really want to try and take anything away from them. I was just a guy that I liked to fight. I took some fights at the time when I got in. UK was quite small in the MMA was quite small in the UK. I was ranked number 1 in the lightweight division, and so I got the shot. Right, but it was quite a small talent pool at the time. But I think that maybe guys like myself and Ian Freeman, Mark Weir, fighting in the UFC probably did certainly increased the UK stock in the game, I think.
For people,
but I don't want to make money. That's not
for people that aren't aware.
For people that aren't aware,
how you, Ian Freeman, kind of ended up in the.
So Ian had fought, I think, Travis Fulton over in the UK, and he beat him. And then my old friend and manager, Julian, he contacted Ian, and I didn't know Julian at this time. I met him through Ian, but he contacted Ian and said, maybe we could push to maybe get you in the UFC. And I think they made a couple of calls and they said, yeah, come over. So that's what happened with Ian. For me, it was when the UFC decided to come to the UK, and Julian again contacted them and said, he's ranked number 1. Do you want to put him in? I'd been on a few documentaries over here as well, covering bare knuckle fighting and prize fighting and stuff. And I've been on a few of those, and I had a little bit of a profile over here already before the UFC, because I'd been on TV. So I think the UFC were quite keen to get me on. That's how I got on.
Who's Julian?
Who's Julian?
Julian Sinessa. He was my manager, and he was Ian Freeman's manager.
Is he still?
I don't think he's managing at all anymore. No. He's still around in as much as I talk to him occasionally. I'm friends with him on Facebook. But yeah, that's about it. I'm not really in the MMA game anymore. I don't think Ian does much in the MMA game. I think he might do the odd promotion. And Julian's not in the game either. I mean, this is all 20 years ago.
What did you think of winning the title? Very
surprised, but very pleasantly surprised. I've got nothing against Usman. I think he's fantastic. But it's really nice to have another Brit with a title. It's just really cool for us as Brits to have that sort of to show that as a nation we can like hold our own with the, I guess what's the word I'm looking for? I guess for the more established countries like the US and Brazil.
And what about Pat?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know much about him. I really paid attention to him. He fought. Um, I'm half asleep, so I've had a really long weekend. So he fought Nad on Cage Warriors for the title, and Nad beat him for the title. And I only really paid attention to that because I get on quite well with Nad, and there was a lot of smack talk coming from Paddy in his camp. So then when he got beaten in Liverpool, quite a big deal. He got beaten for the Cage Warriors title in Liverpool. That was quite a big deal. And then Nad goes on to the UFC. But apart from that, I don't know too much about Paddy. He's obviously very good. You know, he's had a couple of fights in the UFC, and he's got a couple of sort of stoppage wins in there. So he's obviously doing very, very well for himself. I don't know much more than that. I'm going to be honest. As I said, I fought 20 years ago, and the modern guys, I don't keep up with it. You know, so and that's really bad of me. I know, and I probably should, but I don't. But that's kind of more to my point regarding Michael Bisping. Like he won the title relatively recently, just a few years ago. You know, when guys have been in the UFC for 20 years. So I don't know if I'd say he's a pioneer. I mean, yeah, in his own way, he is. Yeah, and I just, maybe Brendan's comments were a little bit hyperbole.
But do you see Pat
on
TV
outside?
Not really. But I don't watch TV. I don't read newspapers, so I don't know. So I'm probably the wrong person to ask for that. I think I might have seen him recently on a news site. I think outside of MMA, something to do with some sort of charity or something he was in. I don't know. I didn't really pay much attention. Sorry, Paddy, if you're watching.
So it's hard for you to get
the
popularity of.
Yeah, I'm not in the scene at all. I don't really follow it. I didn't even watch Edwards' fight. I just woke up in the morning and saw a load of stuff on Facebook and on Instagram, and I thought, oh, okay. So now I'll watch it. And so I did then, but I didn't plan to watch. I don't plan to watch any of the UFCs really, unless someone I know.
But you don't see average.
Or
No, but I wouldn't. I'm not in London. You know, I'm out in Wiltshire, out near Stonehenge. It's just fields and farmers out here, so I wouldn't see too much.
That's cool that you live.
Sorry.
That's cool that you live by.
Yeah.
Do you go out there?
I mean, it's about half out there. No. I've been past a couple of times, but if you go down there, you've got to pay to get in. So
yeah, you probably.
I'm not interested.
Yeah, you probably too.
Sorry.
You probably seen it plenty.
Yeah, I mean, so I haven't lived out here all my life, and so seeing it for the first time was pretty cool. But I've now seen it. So.
Did you watch any of
Showstar Boxing?
No, I don't want. Who's on it?
It was like KS and Salt Pack. These YouTube guys.
Yeah, no, I'm so out of the loop. I know who KSI is because I heard a big thing ages ago when he fought one of those Paul brothers. Was it Jake Paul? Yeah, and that's the first I heard of either of them. And people telling me, oh, no, they're really huge YouTube stars. Okay, all right. But I mean, I'm a middle-aged man. I do a bit of jiu-jitsu and I take my kids to school. And
it seemed like there was a.
So it seemed like
a decent.
Oh, okay, all right. Where was it?
I think London.
Oh, okay, all right. No, I didn't get it. The only thing I've seen recently, and I didn't watch it, but the only thing that kind of caught my attention was this bare knuckle boxing they're doing now, and they had that over here, and they had some, they had Michael Page on there fighting, and they had a few guys. I think Paige Van Zandt was supposed to fight on it, and then they pulled her from the card. So yeah, but I don't really pay attention to that either. It just seems like guys from MMA or guys that don't want to box professionally doing some boxing without gloves on.
Paige seemed to.
Yeah, I mean, she's probably a better grappler than she's a striker, I think.
No, MVP.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so yeah, your Instagram feed, it kind of blips in and out, so I'm not getting everything you say. Sorry, yeah, MVP. Yeah, it's not MMA, is it? He's not allowed to kick at all. And I know he does have fast hands and he hits hard, but he does rely on using his kicks and his knees to set stuff up as he fights sideways, whereas I think strict boxing is a little bit more difficult. Plus, I mean, he's fighting guys that are decent as well. Whereas he made a bit of a name fighting guys that were a little past their prime, aside from Paul Daly and who's the guy that starched him? I can't remember. Brazilian fella.
I know who it is.
Yeah, as soon as you say it, I'll know. But I mean, so he fought him. He's obviously very good. Obviously, Paul Daly's very good. And then aside from that, he's fighting guys like Cyborg when Cyborg was kind of getting on a little bit, and he fought a couple of other guys that I don't want to shit talk them, but they weren't at like a world class level by the time he fought them, and so then he fights in this bare knuckle boxing in a rule set he's not really familiar with, or not that well practiced in, I guess. I don't know. And then he struggled.
I thought it was interesting because without distance, it was hard for him.
Yeah. I think the bare knuckle ring is smaller than a cage. It's harder to move around and harder to dance and jump about. Which obviously favors him to be able to do that because he's got very quick reactions and he's got really good distancing and timing. And I think the bare knuckle boxing kind of forces you to kind of stand and wang, as they say.
Yeah, I mean, why are there going to these events?
I think mainly the same reason they go to any combat sport event, mainly because they just want to see some people have a fight. Most fans don't really understand the game, I think. Or maybe they understand a little bit, but when you hear guys at events and they're screaming and shouting and throwing beer and they're screaming like "knock him out!" Yeah, I mean, I think he tried that one. I recently went to the Commonwealth Games and watched judo there, and it was a completely different vibe. Absolutely, completely different. I took my kids. We were sitting, around other families and stuff. It was really, really nice. There was no beer there. There was no shouting. Just really cool and respectful. I found it much more pleasant to go to be honest.
So the fight crowd in the UK is still like soccer.
Yeah. So football over here is just absolutely rammed with idiots. I can't stand it. I'm sure there are a lot of good football fans, but they get drowned out. And it's very much a football mentality in as much as they don't even care for the game. They just want their team to win. Which if you're a fan, I guess that's what you do. But they don't love the sport. Their team could be doing anything. And they'll support them. It's not a love of the sport itself. And then you've got a big crossover from those sorts of fans over into MMA. and other combat sports, boxing and stuff like that. Yeah, it's sad, I suppose, but they pay people's wages.
But it's interesting
that
you can gauge the crowd of
the crowd of
in the UK.
in the UK.
Yeah, I've been to events in other parts of the world, and it's not the same. Like I've been to UFCs in America. I've been to I've been to ice hockey events in Canada. I've been to NBA games, and the crowds aren't the same. They're excited and they cheer and and they get excited for for their teams, but they don't start singing insulting, crude songs at people and talking about their wives and getting in fights like they do in the UK.
Is that turned you off from it?
So I've never liked football anyway, or soccer as you guys call it. Yeah, I've never liked it. I've always thought it was awful. I've always hated that side of the MMA crowd. When you go to an MMA event and you get that sort of stuff, and you don't all the time, and it's probably getting better. But I haven't been to an MMA event for years, so I'm going to one this weekend, so hopefully that'll be different.
Which one is that?
It's called Raged. I've got a fighter on there, so I'm going to corner.
Rage sounds like low key.
Yeah, it does. It is quite a nice event, and I get on with the promoter and I get on with all the staff there, and I haven't seen any fights break out, and they've asked me to judge a few times while I'm there. But yeah, I guess it used to be called Caged, and now it's called Raged. And I guess that's part of the marketing, right? And that's probably a good indicator of the UK MMA fan base.
Can you tell people about where Patty and
from?
Sorry, about
Liverpool.
So I haven't been there very much. It's it hasn't got a great reputation, but like any city, I'm sure it's got like nice areas and bad areas, right? Like anywhere you go. They talk kind of funny up there. The cliche is the Scouser that goes, "Calm down, right?" From Liverpool, and yeah, they've got a bit of there's like almost a caricature of the Liverpudlian, more from the 80s, but they used, they wore shell suits, these track suits, and were always trying to rob people, and I'm sure it's not like that. I'm just kind of, I know people from Liverpool that aren't like that, so I know it's not true. But that's the what's the word I'm looking for? I guess that's kind of like the stereotype that you get of Liverpool. But when I've been there, yeah, it's kind of run down, if I'm honest. Go there and it's a lot of places are boarded up. Yeah, it's not a UK tourism hotspot.
Why are so many fights
coming
from there?
Yeah, maybe they fought a lot when they were kids, I guess, growing up on their estates. But they had the Wolf Slayer there. I don't know if they're still going, but they opened K-Bon as well, and they had a few MMA gyms there. It's quite a big city, so it's got quite a lot of people there, and they had a few MMA gyms with some decent guys, and yeah. I mean, from that point of view, they're definitely doing something right. They are producing, although it's a decent sized city, it's certainly not the biggest in the UK. Like it's not London, it's not Manchester, it's not Birmingham. So they are punching above their weight for fighters, I guess.
Now talking about
I'm
talking about.
just checking the battery of my phone.
Do you have anything you
The
pioneers of UK?
the pioneers of UK?
Not really. I mean, so back before I fought in the UFC, there was a scene here already, and you had guys like Lee Murray fighting, Alex Reed, obviously Ian Freeman, myself, Mark Weir, and a few other guys that you'll have heard of, and Michael Bisping as well. And it was, I think at the time it was pretty much run by gangsters. I think that's the way it goes in a lot of places when it's growing. And yeah, it was quite different going to the MMA events back then. I remember the way it was all sort of set up was quite different. Like, I'd fought in Canada and I'd fought in the US, and then fighting in the UK was very. I'm just going to say it was quite unprofessional a lot of the time. They like to think they were professional, but it wasn't the same. Like you'd turn up and you'd be warming up out in a shed in the garden or something, and you'd be in arguments on the day about whether you're getting paid or not, stuff like this. It's like, I mean, this is meant to be a professional event. What are we doing, right? But I guess if we want to use the word pioneers, I guess that's the sort of stuff that we were doing. We did it because we wanted to fight. As I said earlier, it wasn't glamorous, it wasn't well known, and a lot of times it was illegal. So we were just fighting because we love fighting. That's probably different to a lot of people today that are doing it. And I'm not criticizing anyone, because you can only do what's put in front of you. But nowadays it's much more accepted and much more glamorized and much more popular. It's more popular. So back then it wasn't. There was no fan base. There was no trying to get well known and get on TV and make money doing this. It was like, I want to fight that guy, and he wants to fight me, so we're going to fight each other in a cage.
Do you bigger than Conor?
No. For the simple fact that I don't think, and I could be wrong, there's nothing personal against him at all, but I don't think he's as good as Conor. So Conor got huge before he fought for the title, and then winning the title against Aldo was absolutely, skyrocketed. But he was already like really, really huge at the time. I get on quite well with John Kavanagh, and before Conor had done much in the UFC, or he'd done a little bit, but he hadn't become super well known, I don't think. But John was telling me how he goes, I don't know why, but he's so popular. I get emails all the time about this Conor McGregor, and I don't know why. I mean, this is way before he fought Aldo. And he goes, all I can do is call it the Conor effect. And I don't think that Paddy quite has that. I think he's outspoken, he's loud, he's exciting to watch. So he's got, on paper, I guess he's got a lot of those sort of attributes. I don't think he is quite as good as Conor, and he doesn't seem to have that same sort of draw. He's making a name for himself, and I've got nothing against him, and I wish the best for him, and I would love to see him get further than Conor. As a Brit, I totally support him. My personal opinion, my objective opinion, is that he's probably not.
Well, Leigh, I appreciate. Talk about the pioneer. Give me a little of your
No worries. Sorry. I'm a little bit in and out. I've had a real long weekend. I've had a real long week. So yeah, I've just been bricking up my chimney place today, and yesterday. So yeah, I'm quite worn out.
Yeah.
So but thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
The shower was driving me. I couldn't get the water.
Did you get it sorted?
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, it's not
Okay.
Bugging me.
Okay.
bugging me.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah,
I'm going to take off.
Yeah,
interesting.
interesting.
Cheers, mate. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.